lofts it in for Olivier in the paint against Ebe, who blocked the shot. Out front on the run out, here's Holland. DeMarcus passes to Taylor off the glass. He lays it in. Isaiah with 12. Texas back in front, 50-48.
Head coach Shaka Smart joins me, and every coach certainly has a path of mentors and people that are important in their career, and we've got one of them with us tonight, so I'll let you introduce and start it off with this very successful basketball coach.
Yeah, I want to introduce one of my mentors in coaching, and a guy that I worked with for 3 years, and I worked for when he was a head coach for 2 years. His first 2 years as a head coach at Akron. He's still the head coach at Akron, and one of 5 programs in the country to win 21 games or more in the last 10 years. The other 4 are Duke, Gonzaga, and 2 other obvious ones. But the head coach at the University of Akron, Keith Dambrot. Keith, are you there?
I am.
Hey, thanks for joining us, man. What can you tell us about your season, man? How are things going?
Well, you know how it is. I mean, you have your moments where you think you're good, and then you get hit in the mouth, and you think you're no good, and you play better. You know, we won our last 3 games to win the conference championship, and now we're going to head into that conference tournament on Thursday and hopefully play 3 good games. I don't think they have to be great games, but just good, solid games to get an NCAA bid.
Yeah, Roger, Keith has just absolutely shattered all the records at University of Akron. Before he got there, they had only been to 1 NCAA tournament, and the coach of that team was Bob Huggins. And Keith has just done an unbelievable job there. They won multiple championships. Keith also was the high school coach of one LeBron James. Keith, tell us about. Can you tell everybody about what you did for me when I first got to University of Akron to work with you as it related to LeBron?
Yeah, it was a funny story. Shaka and I just met, and I said, "Hey, come with me. I got to run an errand." So we went and ran an errand, and it was right after LeBron got drafted, and we went into this little grungy gym and worked LeBron out, and it was a fun moment, really. We actually worked him out all the season before his rookie year, and we had a lot of fun doing that.
The funny thing, Roger, is Keith had LeBron out there doing defensive slides and all these defensive drills, and you know, people still say that Keith is really the last coach that was able to hold LeBron accountable to that level. But you know, I've learned so much from Keith. He's been a guy that you know, has been a real friend and mentor to me, and it's hard to believe, but he's now been at University of Akron for, is it 11 years, Keith?
Well, this is my 12th year as a head coach and 3 years as assistant, so I've been there 15 years, and I was pretty much there my whole life other than about 12 years. So it's a unique situation. My son plays soccer here. My daughter goes to graduate school. My mom was a professor, so it's a good situation for our family.
Well, Keith, I want to ask you what you saw in a 26-year-old ops director from the University of Dayton to bring Shaka along to your staff.
Well, listen, I've never been more sure of a couple things in my life. One, when I had LeBron, I knew he was going to be a star, and I knew when Shaka was with us at Akron that if given an opportunity, he was going to be a star. And there's certain things that you just know that are pretty much given as long as people get opportunities. And I think if you've been around Shaka long enough, you know he's got a lot of qualities that make him great. I think the first thing is obviously he's very intelligent, more intelligent than probably 99% of basketball coaches out there, very well-versed in a lot of different areas. But he also has a chip on his shoulder. He was a guy that always thought he should have been playing Division I basketball, and he kind of coaches like he was not treated well. And he has unbelievable work ethic. He works hard at everything he does, but he also has the brains to back it up.
He's saying you bring a little chip.
Well, you know, Roger, Keith, one of the things that Keith did in practice when I was his assistant is we used to work on execution at the end of practice for literally 30, 40, 50 minutes. Remember, Keith? And one of the things he would do is he would make me play defense on our guys while they were working on executing our offensive sets. And I tried my hardest, Keith. I don't know how good a defense I played, but those were fun times. Keith, tell everyone a little bit just about your philosophy as a coach and some of the things that you've done that have allowed you to be so successful at Akron.
Well, we keep it pretty simple, and Shaka knows this. One of the things that we kind of pride ourselves on is spending time with guys. And I think that's been the key to most of my success throughout my whole career is, young people today are not going to run through a brick wall for you unless they really know you care about them. And so you have to spend time with them. They can't just think you care about them. You have to show them you care about them. So that's probably the main thing. And then, always been defensive oriented. Not one of my best defensive teams this year, but, always has stressed the fact that you have to play defense to play. And then offensively, just sharing the ball, really. And, I learned a lot from coaching LeBron. I learned that if the best player in the world can share the ball, then there's no reason why the rest of these guys can't.
Hey Keith, how much fun has it been to watch Shaka and what he did at VCU and the fact that he stayed there because they believed that was the place for him, and now at Texas as a mentor? How's that been to kind of follow his path?
Well, I laugh sometimes because he always says, I'm the mentor, but really he's mentored me as much as I've mentored him. The old can learn from the young also. So I think that's one thing. But I will say this, I remember the one year I couldn't go to the Final Four for some reason. I think my wife had surgery or something like that. And I remember them going all the way to the Final Four, and I was driving my son home from a soccer tournament, and I kind of teared up when they beat Kansas to go to the Final Four because I was just so proud of what he's done. And I think that's what family does. They root hard for each other. They care about each other. And they're there for each other when things go hard. And I think that's the one thing that I've learned about Shaka is he's a very loyal, committed person. And the thing I learned most from him is be patient and do things the right way. And you would never think a young person would tell you that. But we went all high school kids when I was at Akron with him. And most of it was because of him.
Well, Keith, I appreciate everything you've done for me, and just want to say from all the way down here in Austin, Texas, thank you and congratulations on yet another championship. And Roger, Keith is heading into the MAC tournament, which is going on really about the same time as our conference tournament. They got the #1 seed, so they'll play the winner of a game that's going on right now. And Keith, just wishing you all the best, and thanks so much for everything you've done.
And vice versa. We appreciate you. Love you guys.
Take care.
And the MAC, by the way, Mid-American Conference, Akron 24-7, 13-5 in conference play in the top seed. And, you can learn from so many coaches, and they don't have to be at, quote-unquote, one of the blue bloods. They're great coaches all over.
I'm telling you, I work for Billy Donovan, who's now an NBA coach. I work for Oliver Purnell, who's very successful in the ACC. Keith Dambrot, when it comes to just the meat and potatoes of basketball, he knows as much basketball as anyone I've been around, and that's why he's been so successful. They win every single year. They've done it again this year, and he's also a very dear friend. Appreciate it. I'm sure Keith's upset he doesn't get the Pluckers wings, but we appreciate him joining us tonight. Longhorn Weekly continues with Shaka Smart on Longhorn IMG Radio Network and the Longhorn Network after this.